All right, then. So on the program this morning, we are going to be talking health, and not just health. We are going to be examining flood as a growing concern for maternal health in Nigeria. Women go through a lot when they want to, bring life to this world. And as a way of bringing some levels of advocacy and bringing in some health champions, they've been there for quite a while. And this morning, they're going to be telling us what they've been doing in terms of gathering data, in terms of research, and trying to improve the space when we're talking about maternal health in Nigeria. Joining me in the studios this morning, Miriam Ileyemi is a journalist of note. She's a blogger as well and a maternal health advocate. Miriam, it's nice to have you in the building. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having us.
And how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How about you?
Very good too. So let's also bring in Dr. Miriam Oshodi. She is a public health physician and also an advocate for maternal health in Nigeria. Madam, nice to have you in the building. Good morning.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Let me start with Ileyemi, because I know you've been doing a whole lot of reporting as it relates to health issues. You've been trying to see what you can do to advance the space, especially as it relates to maternal health. So what drove you into that realm as a journalist?
All right, thanks so much. So I would first like to introduce to you the program we're currently on about the project. So hi, I'm Mariam Oshodi. We are fellows of the Africa Health Communications Fellowship.
All right.
It's a program by the Free College of Communications, South Africa.
All right.
And then it's a fellowship that is focused on improving the quality of health communication and reporting on the African continent. So for us in Lagos, I and Mariam as fellows, we decided to look at climate change and the impact on maternal and child health.
Right.
When we say climate change, particularly flooding.
Right.
So as a journalist, of course, we have been reporting on the ground. Flood displaces communities. People have been affected. So this project is so personal and so special because we went into communities to speak with them. We got to listen to women,
right,
mothers, and also elderly people to hear from them what are their challenges, what are those things that they are currently facing, and then from their community engagement we're able to document some of their challenges. And as part of the project we also have a documentary that is coming up that we'll definitely share with you, where we'll be showing you their challenges firsthand.
All right, we'll talk about those things that you experienced while carrying out this kind of research. But Dr. Oshodi, any major connection between flooding and maternal health?
Oh yeah, sure. There are lots of connections with between flooding and maternal health, because of course health is a very important thing. Without health, you really can't do anything. And now, of course, when when the floods are here, there is increase in the water level,
right,
and then so it disrupts several aspects of human beings. So let's take maternal health.
Okay.
So there is flooding. An average woman might want to take the child to the primary health care facility to seek health care, but the roads are flooded. You can't access the health facility. The health care workers can't even get there. And then aside from the road, now look at the physical health. Look at illness. By the time when we have flooding, there are lots of waterborne diseases. That's when we have the increase in incidence and prevalence of diarrheal diseases, cholera, and this is very hazardous to women and even children. And then also look at nutrition. When there is flooding, farmers can't grow their crops. You see most of the time there is hike in prices of food commodities because there is no how to get those food items.
Right.
And then indirectly it's going to cause can cause anemia, can cause malnutrition in children. Would also affect the mothers. Now, so it won't be as if we're talking about mothers alone. Yes, it's going to affect the whole family entirely.
All right.
It's indirect costs occur. Now imagine if the father, that money that you're supposed to perhaps use to pay a child's school fees, schools are resuming today, and then you have to use to take the other one to the hospital because the child is down with some illnesses. You understand what I'm saying?
So it's going to be very, very challenging.
Yes, it's quite challenging.
I was just having a conversation with my colleagues before we started this program, and she was narrating the incidents of a pregnant woman who had to get to the hospital during a very rainy day, and while in the tricycle, the tricycle, missed, lost his brakes and went into the drainage, and both the driver and the pregnant, they fell in, and she was injured, and that led to the loss of the baby.
Wow, that's so
So
serious.
quite unfortunate that we have this kind of incidents here and there. But Ilemi, let's get back to that. So you are picking on this particularly just to try and see what we can do to improve maternal health in Nigeria. Is that the reason?
Okay, so if we look at climate change and then currently looking at what is currently going on globally, especially in Africa, climate change is like at the forefront of public health crisis because of its impacts on health generally and also on our livelihoods. So why did we decide to choose maternal health? Because when we look at it, women and children, they are like the most vulnerable because women, they need special care. Menstruation is there. You want to give birth. You want to access antenatal. So when it is flooded, how do women get to access this kind of services? So we decided to look at, okay, why don't we just go to these communities? And then looking at Lagos, we know that, of course, Lagos the most, populous at least.
All right.
And then we know how Lagos can be when it is flooded. It's not just Lagos, it's across the country. So we decided that let's go to flood-prone communities, and we're working with Amukoko and also Agboyi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we visited the communities, and these women, in fact, they had to acknowledge that these are their challenges. We even had a case
so let's talk about that visit now. So
Okay.
in Amukoko, what was the experience?
Okay, yes, in Amukoko. So there's this community that, is divided by a canal, Amukoko and Ajegule. And then, one of those things they've kept emphasizing on is that there's this canal that they've not touched on for years. And they kept telling us that if you can help us tell the government, they should please come and help us with this canal. Because when it is flooded, it's worsens the situation. So they feel that if the canal can at least be reduced, if they come to, take out the dirt, the trash and all, probably they won't be flooded. Because these people have to share that when it is flooded, they have to go to mosque. They are displaced from their homes for a couple of days.
Wow.
They have to seek refuge in mosque or churches, and those were their experiences. And even in Agboyi, of course, Agboyi is a riverine community, and then we had cases of people saying when it is really flooded, and there was a case of a woman, they said gave birth in a boat, because they could not get to the health center on time. So
Wow.
there's this much pressure when it is flooded on these women. Yeah.
All right, flash updates are still coming in from the control room. We're advising that motorists should please drive straight down towards the construction corridor. It's much better than Ikorodu Road. So let's see how we can decongest Ikorodu Road at the moment. Alakbere connecting Ifakogudu is still very good. So please drive straight down to that location. And let's, stop that temptation of heading towards Ikorodu Road, because the backlog, I understand right now, has extended towards the toll gate turning. All right. Meanwhile, Alakbere in Wotogudu is very much in good shape. So if you're coming in from the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, please drive straight down towards Alakbere if you're heading to the island. Okay. That's a much better alternative than if you want to make use of Ikorodu Road. Ikorodu Road is pretty busy. All right. So let's see how we can decongest Ikorodu Road at the moment. Dr. Miriam Oshodi, let's talk about access now, because access for a pregnant woman, access to health centers might be challenging. So what did you find out when you went to, was that Agboyi Ketu now?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so at Agboyi Ketu, we found out that the health center closest to that community is actually an 8-hour facility. And so the women also complain that because it's 8-hour facility runs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So, most of the time, pregnant women, it's not even everybody delivers at night, but, they often, want to go to the health center later in the day when nobody is seeing them, because of our myths and beliefs, you understand. So they are not able to, that health center is not able to serve them for that purpose. However, the 24-hour facility that is also accessible to them is some kilometers away. And then even transportation, particularly in flooding, like my colleague said here, it's a bit of an issue. Because when, imagine a woman goes into labor, let's say at about 7 p.m., they have to take the boat or the canoe, to get out of that community, and then be able to access the 24-hour facility. Well, luckily enough, now they have a bridge, a road, a motorable bridge that they can drive through.
Okay.
But they also have to, part of the things we did when we went to the field was the fact that we had a lot of community engagement. So we explained to them that it's not just for the government. The community also has a role to play. In Agboyi, for instance, we told them we could have a network of maybe the boat riders or the transportation people. That's the keke that comes into the community.
Right.
So that will serve like a maternal a maternal like call center kind of to be able to pick a pregnant woman to take to the closest 24-hour facility. They have I think they have the K2 PHC, that is 24-hour facility, and also even closer is they also have the Ogudu PHC, which serves as a 24-hour facility which they can use. While at Amukoko, the canal that my colleague was talking about is actually filled. So they complained that the government had not come to dredge, as in have a thorough dredging on that canal to remove the dirt. And you know what our practice usually is, when they dredge the canal, the dirt actually stays, is kept at the edge of the canal, and then when the rains come again, it goes back into the canal. And then the where the community has a major role is the fact that they are also disposing their waste indiscriminately
in that
canal, exactly,
which is quite unfortunate.
So it's a recurrent, is a vicious cycle.
All right, I'm still going to hold you on a bit, and I'm still going to be speaking with you, Dr. Miriam, and I need you to talk to our listeners this morning, especially those who are women and those who are perhaps still pregnant. What kind of diseases or perhaps the health conditions could affect pregnant women during flooding, during climate change situations? Can you just break that down for us?
Okay, so let me talk about the children, then I'll go to the women.
Okay.
Now for children, we have lots of waterborne disease that could affect children, likewise adults. One of very important is diarrheal disease and cholera. Sometime last year we had pockets of cholera outbreaks in Lagos, and the cholera outbreak is when someone is vomiting and stooling at the same time, and with increased episodes that can lead to shock and death if not taken care of. So this can affect children. And then diarrheal diseases is not even it's not just to children, also to adults. So you can have children passing of water. A child is passing water school less than 3 times in a day. You need to get to the hospital. You need to do the basic ORS, which you teach them at the facilities, and then get to the hospital immediately. Also it's very important that we improve our cultural practices, keep encouraging hand washing from time to time for the mothers, for the children. That is very key. Now to the pregnant women. Okay, so sorry, I also forgot to mention is when we went to these communities, when the floods are here, they have several skin diseases. Several skin diseases, and then their feet, because they put their feet into the water. Yes. Wow. So they have several diseases on their feet, and then they have all this and it's like a recurrent thing. It doesn't heal because by the time it's getting better, the floods are here again, they dip their feet into it, and then also because access to water, potable water, appears to be a problem in these communities. So the same water from the river, for instance, in Agui, is what they used to wash, do their basic chores in the house, regardless of the flooding.
Right.
Yes. So also for the mothers, pregnant women in particular, it's not advisable for a pregnant woman to have diarrheal disease because you're carrying another individual in you. Whatever you're going to be taking in has to be sufficient for you even before the baby. Right. So you can imagine a pregnant woman having diarrheal disease or cholera is something to be worried
Which
about.
is quite unfortunate. Yeah. All right, then let's get back to the roads. Victoria Island, I understand there's a broken down loaded container laden truck having mechanical problem. That's at the toll plaza inwards Sandfield. Control room, give us an update on that one. We had that earlier on, and I understand the owner has been working on it. Little effects on traffic at the time this was served. But those of you coming in from the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, please drive straight down towards Ifako Gudu end. It's very, very free. It's not as busy as Ikorodu Road, so we'd like you to make use of that end if you want to connect the island. Ikorodu Road is pretty busy, and that's all the way from Anthony. Backlog is beyond the toll gate, I understand, right now. So please, let's take note of that. PWD, currently very busy traffic as well along Cement to National, and this is due to high influx and vehicles coupled with the after effects of the rain. That is also affecting your movement as well. Traffic very, very slow and steady within that particular end. Anyway, if you want to join the conversation this morning and also want to have your say or perhaps speak with the specialists there who are carrying out this kind of research just to ensure that we advance the maternal health space, feel free to join us, and that's on 091-5387 7127. Okay, 09153877127. Ilemi, let's get back to, this on-field project that you guys have been able to carry out. Like, how many people are we able to talk to in those two communities?
So in the two communities, I think about 150 or more than that.
Wow,
over
150.
Yes. Right. So initially our target was 100, so 50-50, but the interest, the people showed interest, and we were even wowed by the participation and also the engagement.
And these are all women?
They are all women, yes.
Okay.
They brought their children.
Yeah, but at any point did you have men also come too?
Of course.
This is what our women are facing. Let's add our voice to the conversation.
Yeah, of course. We had men. In fact, one of the questions people have asked is that men are also key players when it comes to issues like this, because they have the say when it comes to decisions of the homes and all, and even when it comes to the women accessing care, the men also have a role to play. So I remembered in Amukoko we had like 4 men who were there to even contribute, to say, okay, these are the challenges, this is how we have been managing, and this is how we have been approaching the situations. And also in Agboyi, we also had men who are even members of the Red Cross, Society, who joined us, and in fact, it was amazing. Yeah.
All right, then I have some messages that are coming in for you guys. 09153877127. This one says, good morning, Victor. Anytime it rains heavily in Lagos, my street floods. How dangerous is that for a pregnant woman just trying to get around? Debbie is sending that one in. Debbie, thank you so much. I'll allow the women to respond to you because I do not have that much knowledge of that. Dr. Miriam?
Yeah, so the impact of flooding cannot be estimated, because you can imagine the roads are flooded and it's not safe for a pregnant woman, because the stamina and the strength of that pregnant woman to be able, for a woman, let's say for a woman first of all go to a pregnant mother, to be able to paddle through the floods, depending on the level of the flood, it's very risky, it's very dangerous. And then not to talk about a pregnant woman. So I like to advise, particularly in people that live in these flood prone communities, they already know how the trend, how the floods come. So let me give an example in Amukoko.
Right.
Talking about the impacts of flooding, there was one elderly woman that told us that she was about less than 1.5 meters tall, and she told us that when it's time for flooding, they have to back her out of the house.
Wow.
Yes, it was that bad. The people told us how they lose properties. We just TV got lost at the last flooding, because once the waters are here, our children can't go out to play. They have to stay inside the house. Those are those that do not go to seek refuge in schools, churches, because it's a known thing in community. So the churches are open, the schools are open, the mosques are open, that they are coming in. So there are a lot of loss of property, so imagine someone, once there is flooding, their daily activity comes to affected. An halt, because they can't do anything.
This one says, good morning and happy new week. Can flood water actually affect the baby inside the womb? Ahmed from Wundikman is sending that one in. Dr. Miriam?
Yeah, so the flood water would affect the baby inside the womb indirectly, because it can affect the mother. Yeah, so indirectly, whatever thing affects the mother affects the baby.
All right.
Yeah, so it's would in the long run affect the baby.
Yeah, 09153877127. Well, now that you've carried out this research, you've gone to these communities as a field work, Ilemi, what's the next thing?
Yes, thank you so much. So our project is a way to, bridge the gap. We are trying to get this community to understand that it's not just about the government. It's a collective responsibility, especially when it comes to waste management. You can't say the government should come and pack or come and clear the canals, and then afterwards you continue to, dispose irresponsibly. So it's a responsibility of everyone. So we are using this, stories. We are using this opportunity to show the government, that climate action must include a strong focus on public health, because in Lagos State there is this policy that's called the Lagos State adaptability climate policy. Right. So we are trying to also use this opportunity to advocate that they should kind of make it gender responsive, especially when it comes to maternal health, so that it won't be just about transportation alone or anything, but also about public health.
All right. This one says, good morning, Mrs. Oshodi. If a pregnant woman falls in dirty flood water, what's the first thing she should do? You didn't put your name, but thank you so much. Very pertinent question.
If a pregnant woman falls in dirty flood water, the first thing she should do is to get to the health facility as a matter of urgency.
As quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible, because you can't predict the impact of the fall instead. Or yes, and then you can't predict what part of the body is affected. Imagine if she falls face down and it affects the baby. She could have an abrupt rupture, and that is very dangerous. So she needs to run. Everybody actually needs to run to the health facility.
All right. Let's see if we can take some calls. I see some of you are trying, but the network very cranky. 09153877127. We still are advising that you make use of the construction corridor. That's Ifako Ogudu end. The traffic there is still relatively good compared to Ikorodu Road. All right. So those of you coming in from the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you can drive straight down. If you're coming in from Ikorodu, inner part of Ikorodu, you can make use of underneath the bridge at mile 12 to link up with Ajelogo, and from there connect that corridor. But we're saying please make use of the Ogudu Alakpere end, and that's because Ikorodu Road pretty busy. Lots of you are making use of that end earlier on as an alternative. But we're saying the main construction zone is still good. Hello there.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Otumba from local airport.
Good, Otumba, talk to
me. Long time, sir.
Yeah.
I've been calling, send message. Bankatol is very long.
Yes.
I don't know what is happening. You are going to Maryland, you are coming from Maryland towards the both sides is very locked down.
Yes, it is blocked. We've been talking about that since morning. Nothing unusual. We have lots of people that are making use of that corridor. Traffic coming in from Ojota, traffic coming in from Ikeja. Everybody is funneling through Ikorodu Road. That's why it's very busy this morning.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Otumba. All right, so that's what we are experiencing. Those of you that are on Ikorodu Road, those of you trying to, even making use of the Ikeda's Lasut end, heading towards Bank Anthony Way to link up with Maryland, are also having it pretty slow as well. And that's because today, school resumption, do not forget, that's also adding to the mix, coupled with the fact that most of you are using Ikorodu Road as the alternative. But we're saying you can still proceed to head towards Ifako Ogudu. Through that construction zone is still relatively good. Even from our live cameras, we can tell you it's still looking good as well. All right, 08099120777, 09153877127. More reactions coming in. This one says, good morning. This is the first time I'm hearing about how flooding can affect maternal health. Thank you for the information. Please, I live in an environment that is usually prone to flood, and I don't have a choice but pass through the flood all the time. So what can I do? It says, what can I do? Okay, it says, what can I do about that? All right, Basirat from Ikorodu is sending that one in. So what would be the advice then, Dr. Oshodi, for those who live in flood-prone areas as women? What's the advice this morning? Okay,
so for those that live in flood-prone areas as women, the first thing is you start preparing before the floods are here. Before it gets so very heavy. So first of all, if you have the means to stay out of that area at that period, maybe to move in with a family friend, a relative, that's good. However, if you do not, first of all, keep your properties, your things away from the water area. And then for people that live in flood areas, they get rain boots. Sometimes the flood actually can be very bad, and that the waters can enter the rain boots. But however, get that as a means to have your rainbow so that your leg is not affected. You understand? Also, people that live in flood-prone areas are prone to things like diarrhea, disease, and also ensure that you have you know how to prepare the ORS. Okay. ORS, yes, the oral radiation therapy, like the water, salt, sugar solution. Right. So that as a first aid measure before you get to the primary healthcare facility. And also very importantly is ensure that you know the nearness of any healthcare facility to you in case of an emergency.
Hello there, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Vicky.
Yeah, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Biodun from Lekki, now in Adion.
All right, Biodun, go ahead.
All right. Quickly, Madam Yemi, right?
Yes, Yemi.
Okay, please. I don't know. I want to ask: is immunization it free? I don't know because my wife just gave birth and they are charging us here in Adino. So I want to know if it's free or we pay for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think Dr. Miriam will be able to answer that, right?
Okay, so thank you for your question. So immunization at the public facilities are free.
Now the primary healthcare centers.
Yeah, primary healthcare centers are free. So, a question I would have loved to ask is, where is the wife trying to get, the immunization service? Because if you go to a private facility, you will be
asked to pay,
and that's because of course, logistics and other things to ensure that the vaccines are available there.
Yeah, but in the public health centers,
public health centers,
it's free.
Yes, it's
well, he's calling in from Adino, so I'm hoping that maybe it will be the nearest.
Adino, is that Ogun State?
Adino, is that Ogun State or Lagos? Well, we'll try and find out.
Okay, but he said Lekki.
He was in Lekki
he said
before.
He's now in Adino.
Now in Adino. All right.
Okay.
Let's begin to wind this to the end right now. So, Ilemi, you've done this. Any future plans of going to other communities?
Yes, of course, because one of the things that the organizers of the fellowships they are trying to achieve is that it shouldn't be one-off. We should pick a topic that we know that after the fellowship we definitely want to continue. We want to continue to advocate for that change until we see it, because they understand that impact cannot be immediate. For instance, the communities that are calling for a revamp, they are calling for dredging of their canals. So we know that it might not be immediate. So because we are also making plans to make sure that we visit government representatives so that we can pass this information to them. So it's not immediate. After the fellowship, we also intend to continue to advocate this, because in fact we're also planning a social media campaign so that we can continue to advocate, we continue to spread the message across.
I wish you the best of luck as you embark on this. At least you're trying to improve maternal health in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Miriam, what's your parting thoughts?
Okay, my parting thoughts is very simple. The floods are coming. Prepare before they come. Prepare before they come. Let's ensure we stay safe. Ensure we keep all the basic health tips at our fingertips, and then ensure that you're able to locate the closest primary or secondary healthcare facility closest to you.
All right, then we'll leave it to that for now. It's nice having both of you in the studios. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vicky.
Okay, then. So this morning, we've been able to examine flooding as a growing concern for maternal health in Nigeria. And joining us in the studios, I had Miriam Olayemi, who's a journalist, a blogger, and a maternal health advocate. Dr. Miriam Oshodi, a great friend of the house, is a public health physician and also an advocate for maternal health as well. We have to go. The program has been produced by Mike James, and I say a big thank you to Remy Aluko and, of course, Daniel Downsey. A maximum shout out going out to our executive producer, Tayo Akole. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a great day. Bye.
Nice. I take it one.